Here, this is Justin here with my next review. I know it's been a while since I've done a review. I've just been really busy and with work and getting ready to go home for the holidays. So my review this week will be Season 2 of Saint Seiya Lost Canvas. And this season picks up where the first season leaves off, where Tenma, Yato, and Yasuhida decide to raid Hades' castle. Sorry, I don't know the what's the possessive form of Hades, but they must go through a big test in the forest that leads to it. There they encounter new danger and all that other stuff you hear in narrated movie trailers promoting the next action and adventure thriller. But yeah, that's what happens from a non-spoiler standpoint in giving some simple synopsis. But moving on, in spirit of the trailers of the sequels that there is more at stake, more danger, and it gets progressively darker, but yet it becomes yet more exciting at the same time. Though Tenma is really the main character, the three acts that this series goes through just centers around three particular gold saints. Manigoldo, the Cancer Saint, El Cid, the Capricorn Saint, and Sisyphus, the Sagittarius Saint. And even though the respective original series counterparts didn't really have much screen time as, let's say, Saga, Mu, and Milo did, these characters do a whole lot and demonstrate how fucking badass they are. Formally speaking, they really go in depth with these characters and explore why they became saints and their reasons for why they are fighting in this war. And then you also have the return of Hypnos and Thanatos, and they are given a bigger role as opposed to their original series counterparts as well. Thanatos is portrayed as brash, arrogant, and sadistic like in the old series, and Hypnos is still calculating, manipulative, and patient. Those qualities were shown with them in the original Saint Seiya, like I said, but they're more expanded upon in this season, and the screen time they are given makes them more credible villains this time around, since they really did almost nothing in their first appearance in the original Kuramata Sensei manga. Okay, so Thanatos destroys the 5 gold cloths. That was cool and impacting for what little time they had during the last series. That's a big deal considering that. And Tenma still maintains the archetypical qualities of a shonen hero, but I like how these qualities are put more in a much darker context, and I think it brings more meaning to why he has these qualities and they're put to good use. It shows that he's very caring, and yet he can be an idiot, but he may be idealistic, but yet he understands the hard side of life, and yet those qualities are why he doesn't give up hope. He does have his moments in the series, but this installment belongs to those 3 gold saints, as I said before, and I personally don't mind that, and I don't think neither should you. But the series ends on a cliffhanger, but when it ends, it gets really, really exciting because it comes to a point where even though they've won this really huge battle, the stakes are starting to get higher than ever before, and it leaves you wanting for more. And I hope, a new installment is made soon now that the manga is over, even though TMS Animation has said in the last few months that they're really not really looking into making a new one, but I honestly think it makes sense that they should now that the manga's fucking over, so fucking make a new Saint Seiya Lost Canvas. And for that, I say the story and characters get a 9 out of 10. The art and animation is more or less the same, but what really improves is the action. The action this time is just simply badass on a level that is just a few leagues below JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Granted, it is balls to the walls, but it relies a lot on wit, strategy, and just being a fucking man. From beginning to end, there is a countless tension and intensity. The fights perfectly mixes physical, psychological, mystical, and spiritual qualities to make the action consistently diverse and exciting. The characters are placed in battles where it's like the equivalent of, the 60-year-old Rocky Balboa, and he's taking on a prime Apollo Creed, Mr. T, a young Hulk Hogan, the Ivan Drago on every fucking performance steroid imaginable, and a heavy-loaded Tommy Gunn, and a hungry Mason Dixon, all at once on the mean streets of Philly, and yet, facing this alone, try to imagine this 60-year-old Rocky from the last movie fighting all those guys at once. That's how fucking crazy it is. Even though Saint Seiya is a retelling of Greek mythology, the characters demonstrate a good combination of the spirit of the ancient Japanese samurai warrior with the all-American million-to-one underdog. Yeah, they may lose, but the fact that they choose to face such a challenge is what makes it more admirable. This is most demonstrated with El Cid. Remember that Rocky analogy I just made? Well, El Cid is who I was talking about, and what he does is what made him my favorite character in Lost Canvas so far. Hell, he's cooler than Shura, the original Capricorn State in my book. So I give the art and animation a 9.5 out of 10. Well, the style of the music and the songs used are still the same, and I can't go wrong with Realm of Athena, the best English anime song of all time, and that's in the Japanese version. But early on in the series, I like how this Oregon song was used more integrated into the action. At first, you think the music is just a BGM setting the mood, but it is of course not doing that for the audience, but for the victim on the TV screen itself. I like how this featured villain was playing an organ to manipulate people, and it just really intensifies that mood. The Seiyu cast is still appropriately splendid. I really can't say anything about it that I already said in my review of the last season. The performances perfectly reflected the nature of their characters. I like how Hirano Aya as how she portrays Athena or Sasha, and she can't always act as, that schoolgirl who needs to be in the remedial classes, and she shows she can be this leader in this time of war. And, I would give this a 10 out of 10 if it had Pegasus Fantasy, so the absence of that song just bumps it down to a short 9.5 out of 10. Well, of course, to watch this installment, you do need to watch the first season of Saint Seiya to get an understanding of the establishment of the main cast, specifically Tenma, Sasha, and Alone. But this season does a good job of reestablishing these characters in a certain way that may not be familiar to new audiences, but I do recommend watching this series from season 1 to get a better idea of how the stakes got higher and how the danger gets more intense. Once again, I do like to say that you don't really need any previous exposure to the original Saint Seiya series, though it does help a lot. But at the same time, the previous exposure does add more. But hey, this series still defines what makes Saint Seiya awesome. Explosive action, thrilling adventure, and awesome music that grabs you by the balls. For that, I give Season 2 of Lost Canvas an overall score of a 9.25 out of 10. And look forward to my next upcoming reviews, and some of these reviews will be, of course, Beat X, also by Kuramata Masami, also Slam Dunk. I also got Akazuki Cha-Cha, Ghost Sweeper Mikami, and I also got Kamen Rider 5s and Kamen Rider Blade. So look forward to those reviews in the upcoming weeks, and happy Thanksgiving.